What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? It's unclemusclez. I want to show you guys quickly today how to set up your Marvel Rivals game to make it so you can run max settings. I'm running on a 7900 XT. I can run this pretty much on Ultra and get at least 120 FPS, usually about 140, 150 at least. Everything maxed out. However, I've noticed that if you just turn off all of the settings, it's almost identical of an experience. So this is what I recommend to you. The first thing you want to make sure you have on is TAAU. This is the least taxing on your hardware as far as an anti-aliasing. All the other things will increase your latency. If you're trying to reduce resolution, this isn't the way I'd recommend it. Using Epic TSR, AMD FSR, or Intel XeSS, I would actually recommend using TAAU and then actually lowering the resolution. A lot of people recommend not doing it this way. You could also just actually reduce the resolution of your monitor to 720. This will make it so your monitor actually generates less frames. But if you can, if you're able to, run it at TAAU and run it at 100, you can experiment in between TAAU and also lowering it to 720 to see which one you like more. I would guess that TAAU at a different rendering scale that's not 100 will have somewhat of a latency impact on your graphics hardware, so it's not preferable. If you want to limit your FPS, this is something you can apply. I don't have this limited. It only goes up to 120 max, and I have a 240 hertz monitor, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. But if you want and you notice that your graphics card is like overheating or whatever, you can limit this to whatever your, maybe 10 or 15 above whatever your monitor actually runs at, even 1 or 2. As long as it's above your actual hertz, you can even do it to 60 if you run a 60 hertz monitor, but you don't really need an FPS cap that's higher than what your monitor refresh rate is. It just doesn't make any sense. So I actually run it uncapped, and I get a little bit over 240 frames per second. I show FPS, I show all my network stats. The VSync you always want to have disabled. This actually increases latency. It reduces screen tearing, but it's not something that's necessary, especially for FPS games. Like I said, I've turned everything on low. The main thing that you might not be familiar with are the reflection qualities and global illumination. SSGI requires the least amount of hardware power to have it operate, and then you want to have reflection quality, screen space reflections. Lumen reflections are very taxing. This is a feature of Unreal Engine 5, so if you want to use something that's not so taxing in your graphics card, you can go with screen space reflections. I've noticed that essentially there's no difference between these two features, and if anything, the game seems to run a lot smoother when I turn everything off. So what I've done is essentially that I've turned everything to low. All my settings are low. Would this run on a GT 1030? I'm not 100% sure. I highly doubt it, but I probably could get this maybe at like 720p. You probably could get this to run at some very, very reduced GPU/VRAM settings, because this is probably something that's going to be VRAM. Your bottleneck is probably going to be related to VRAM for this game, at least in most cases. I think for most players with most modern GPUs at this point, if you're running 2 gigabytes, it might be a little bit small. 4 is probably optimal. Maybe not optimal, but is the minimum that you should be using. 8's probably somewhat optimal, and then anything more than that's probably ridiculous, unless you're playing at 4K or higher resolutions, 1440p, anything like that, and you're trying to get higher frame rates. But really, especially with the new Unreal Engine, it's not my favorite engine for FPSs. I really don't think it's very good. I mean, as far as it looks pretty, you have some of the best skins you'll ever encounter in a game, but like games like the Finals or games like this, it's just very, very taxing on the hardware, and games like Overwatch or Valorant seem to make much better use of the hardware power that's being dedicated to the actual process itself. Anyway, hopefully this helps you guys out. This is just a quick little recap on how to increase your FPS. Check me out, twitch.tv/unclemusclez. I'm streaming on Kick as well. You can check me out on the X platform or hit me up on Discord. There's going to be information in the description below. And that's it. I love you guys so much. I got to go. Bye.